What's up, guys? This is Team Infinity Cerulean coming at you guys with a premium Spike Brothers deck profile. Take it away.
Okay, so first off, we have our grade 3. Currently we're running 4 Cyphered. It's a pretty good, if you end up having to ride a 3 first, it's a pretty good card to ride, because its first skill is counterblast 1, put a rear guard into soul, and search for a copy of the same card, call it to rear guard, and then that unit you called and the Vanguard will get plus 10, so you can do it more than once so it can stack. It's a pretty good ride target if you end up riding to grade 3 first, like if your opponent tries to grade stall you. And then its second effect, which makes it a really good card, I feel. So it's when its attack hits, Soul Blast 2, choose one of your rested, or stand one of your rear guards, and then you can choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So because your numbers can get pretty big with this deck, your opponent's more likely to want to guard the Vanguard and not let that go off, because if they let your Vanguard hit, you can get another attack. Which, if with the deck this deck, it's kind of an early pressure kind of deck. Oh yeah, the more pressure you can deal early, the better off your late game will be. So, yeah.
That you can kind of standard rush with it.
Yeah. Okay, next up we got for the big boy here. Juggernaut Maximum. So Juggernaut, he's all dear to our hearts. His skill is Vanguard, Rearguard, when placed, he gets plus 10 until the end of turn. And then at the beginning of your main phase, put him into soul, and then you can choose a copy from deck and then call it to Rearguard. And then the good part about him is because it kind of goes well with his first skill when he's placed, because you can basically shove one into soul and then call a copy from deck, and then it'll get the plus 10 power. So I'm playing 4 because it's probably one of your best beaters in the deck. There's a slightly better one, but we'll get to that later. Okay, so 4 Juggernaut Maximum. Okay, next up, we're playing 4 Unit Attacker.
4?
Sorry, I say 4. Oh, numbers are hard. I meant to say 2 Unit Attackers. So, honestly, I feel I'm not just playing him because he's another grade 3 at the Force Gift. So, its skill is, if you guys want to know though, Soul Blast 7, look at 5 cards from the top of the deck, and then call up to 5 cards from among them to rearguard, and put the rest at the bottom. And then 3 of your front row units will get plus 5 until end of turn. But yeah, he's kind of just there for an extra 3 target. So yeah. Okay, so moving on to grade 2s, we're playing 4 Spike Bouncer. So Spike Bouncer, it combos really well with a lot of your strides and a lot of your things you can do. Like there's this trigger that when we're running in this deck that combos really well with Spike Bouncer if you have the counterblast for it. So its skill is Vanguard, Rearguard when placed, counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. Look at the same number of cards from the top of your deck up to the grade of your Vanguard. Yeah, as your Vanguard's grade, and then you can call one of them and then put the rest, or call one of them to Rearguard and then put the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So, yeah, he's one of your main plus engines. Helps a lot with really early game rush if you end up riding it. You could call like a Juggernaut or like a really good attacker off him. And a rare skill, or actually the skill actually is helpful.
Going into the GB8?
Yeah, going to the GB8, it's his second skill. I mean, the first skill is also really good with GB8, but... So, at the end of the battle that it attacked, counterblast 1, put it into soul, and draw a card. So, yeah, we'll get to the GB8 thing later, but... Okay, so 4 Spike Bouncer. Okay, next up, we've got 4 High Speed Bracky. High Speed Bracky is probably, I want to say, your second or third best speeder in the deck. So it's the same skill as Juggernaut Maximum, where when it's placed, you can get it plus 10. Or this is on Rearguard, by the way. It's not the exact same as at Maximum, but so when placed, plus 10 to itself on Rearguard, and then it has the same skill at the beginning of your main phase, put it into Soul. And then you can search for a High Speed Bracky and call it to Rearguard. So it can become like a 20 beater, 30 on Excel. Or sorry, I say Excel, I meant Force 1. Okay.
And it's filtering your deck every turn, so
yeah.
It's pretty
Filter
nice.
for triggers too. It's pretty good. Okay. And lastly for our grade 2s is 3 Treasure Black Panther. This is probably the second best beater in the deck, in my opinion. I mean, it's the strongest beater, but in my opinion, it's the second best beater. It goes really well with one of our strides that I'm playing. But yeah, so its skill is when it attacks on rearguard, Soul Blast 1, and you can either give him 5k or 15k for that battle. And if you give him 15k though, you can put him into the soul. So there's this trigger that we're playing right here. We'll get to it later, but the interaction between the two, since they're both at the end of battle, I'll get back to you guys on that later. They have an interaction that you can do. Okay, sure, I'll just explain it now. So, interaction between these two is, let's say you're boosting, or Mecha Trainer, so Mecha Instructor's skill is charge, and then choose a card from your hand and put it into your soul. When it's put back into your deck from rearguard, you can pay the cost if you do. Choose one of your rearguards, bind it face up, and then call that card to open rearguard. So if you guys didn't know, charge, it's a skill where it has to be placed by an ability. Yeah, so you can't just call it from hand to rearguard and then do this, then say it's charging. So they're usually placed by ability. There's a stride that you can play that can give charging to a unit, but I'm not playing that stride. So what you do, you can attack boosted with the Panther, and then because they're both your Soul Blast give it 15, and then because they're both end of battle skills, you can proc the Mecha Instructor first to send it back to deck. And before it can go into Soul, you can bounce it and call it, and then it won't have to go into Soul. And then you can Soul Blast and give it 15 again if you want it. So yeah. And then there's also another play that you can do, there's another play that you can do with one of my favorite strides that I'm playing in the deck, which I'll get to. I'm just gonna get to it later. Okay, so but yeah, 3 Treasure Black Panther. Okay. So moving on to grade 1s. So we're playing 4 Gyro Slinger. So its skill is when placed Vanguard rearguard, put a card from hand to soul, and then you can check the same grade as your, or check the top card of your deck up to the same grade as your Vanguard, and then you can choose one card and call it to rearguard, and then that unit will get 5k. So another thing I forgot to mention about this one, and also Spike Bouncer, because you're grade 4, that actually counts. So you end up checking the top 4 cards when you stride if you had called these to rearguard, which makes them pretty good. But yeah, honestly, I feel like Gyro Slinger, it's pretty good in certain situations, like if you're running low on Counterblast, because he doesn't require a Counterblast unlike the Spike Bouncer does. Yeah. So yeah, 4 Gyro Slinger. He's good for early game rush, and also if you like emergency, superior calling and attacking. Also goes good with one of our strides. Or actually a lot of the strides, to be honest, but yeah, 4 Gyro Slinger. Okay.
So this is standard deck, right? I've seen a lot of standard.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, the deck's pretty standard. Yeah. Okay, well, moving on. We're playing 4 Wonder Boy. So Wonder Boy, it's also one of a. Honestly, I'd call it one of our beaters, to be honest. But its skills are so when placed rearguard, put it on grade 1 from your drop zone to the bottom of the deck, and then this unit can get +5 until end of turn. So the important part is you put a non-grade 1, so you can put back something like
Brocky, Spike Bouncer, Maximum, Siegfried.
Yep. You can put down or put back cards that you're missing.
Triggers.
They also triggers if you need. Okay, and then the second one has the same skill as Bracky and Maximum, where at the beginning of your main phase you put it into Soul, and then
filter himself out of deck.
Call a copy from deck and then call it. And then you can also use on play skill for it too, if you do it that way. Okay, so 4 Wonder Boy. Okay, next up we're playing 3 Stride Fodder, because we like striding. I mean, yeah, pretty self-explanatory. It does matter though if you are playing a different grade 3, which I was trying out at one point. I'm still considering to play it. Great Star, or Giant Rising Star, Great Star. Yeah. So the reason why I was thinking about playing this one is because it's another card that can superior call from deck. Specifically, I think it's a charging unit? No, it's... Yeah, grade 2 or less with a charging unit. This has charging.
So you're using it to fetch out your stands.
Yeah.
So for extra attack extensions.
Yeah. It's another card I was considering, but since it does have... Is it Rising Nova or is it... Yeah, because it searches for a Rising card, so you could search this out. It's one of the other cards I considered playing instead of like Unite Attacker. But yeah. 3 stride fodder. Helps the stride. Okay, and then lastly we're playing 1 Rain Elemental Tier. The reason why I'm playing 1 is because you can send it back to deck with one of our G-Guards, and also it's good for like that emergency countercharging. And we're also playing a lot of, or a few, not a lot, but like a few G-Guards and G-Units in our G-Zone that are Elementals. So yeah, its skill is, when it's placed on rear guard, you may Soul Blast 2, and then if you do, you can choose a card from your damage zone for each face-up Elemental in your G-Zone, and then turn them face up. Yeah. So, good for countercharging. Okay, next up, moving on to the triggers. So, we are playing the standard heal, 4 standard heal. Yeah. I like it for the damage, like if you were to damage one, it's a +10 power, also range drive ticket.
It's the newer trigger, it's good.
Yeah. 10k triggers. There are some people that are playing,
the unflipping ones?
Yeah, the unflipping one, the Dudley heal. I'm not playing it because, I mean, my grade 3s I'm not playing, like, it's not focused, the deck isn't focused on trying to get to Hellheart 8.
Yeah, that deck, if I remember correctly, it's Jelly Bean into the heals.
Yeah. You use Jelly Bean and get your heals out of it. And then you can also, yeah. So, 4 standard heals.
I think that deck also, like, tanks to OTT just because their G-Guards don't do anything.
Yeah. Okay. And next up, we're playing 4 draw trigger PGs. I'm kind of on the fence about playing it. I'm kind of just playing it because, like, I mean, it gives me more room to play in the deck, or play with our other cards in the deck. In my opinion, though, if you wanted to take out, the draw trigger PGs, I'd suggest taking out probably 1, 2, probably like 1 of each of your other grade ones, except for tier, of course. Yeah, like 1 of each. Just probably maybe 2 Gyro Slingers, I guess, if you really wanted to play normal PGs, and then just replace them for like stand triggers or crits. Yeah, I'm playing 4 draw trigger PGs because it makes room for the deck. Okay. Next up, we're playing. Yeah. We are playing 5 crit. We're playing 4 the new crit and then 1 other V crit. So if you guys didn't know, the new crits are GB1. When your Vanguard attacks, you can shove this into Soul and give your Vanguard +10, and then you also draw a card. It's good for building up Soul.
They're also just the new improved version of the previous crit effects.
Yeah. And there's also a play you can do with this. It's a decent play. You can do with one of our strides. It's one of my. I keep talking about it. It's one of my favorite strides in the deck, honestly. But yeah, 5 crit. 10k crits are good. And lastly, we're playing the 3 Mecha Instructor. This combos really well with a lot of our strides because a lot of our strides can make this card charging.
To get you extra attacks with the Force gift.
Yep. And then our starter, of course, we're playing the V Mecha Trainer. I would play the other one, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Because, I mean, also I'm not playing the Dudley engine. I'm not playing the Hellheart 8 Rush version. I mean, you technically could play the other one and try and search out for, like, a heal or something if you need to like, guard maybe against Ichikashima. But usually, at least when I've been going against Ichikashima, they usually die on my second stride. Like, it's more about you trying to live through their first stride and then just beat them on the second stride, usually. But yeah, playing the Mecha Trainer starter. Okay, going on to the strides. So, first off, we're playing the Heat Elemental Marindal. So, you guys didn't know. Marindal, its skill is... Axe skill... Okay. Axe skill, flip a card from your G-Zone face up, or face down card, face up, and then it gets a skill when its attack hits. You can give a unit +5 for each face-up card in G-Zone. So yeah. The main reason I'm playing is because the Cray Elemental for tier. Okay. Next up, we're playing Sea Breeze. It's kind of just one of the flip targets because they're both Cray Elementals. Also, sometimes you could use like Cyfreed. If you have the counterblast for it, you could use like a Cyfreed and then follow it up with a Sea Breeze after that. But yeah. And then you have like you get buffed up rear guards and you have triple drive on your drive check. Yeah. And next, you guys might hate me for this, but well, not hate me, but not yet at least. But so we're playing 4 Agrius.
But I heard that was a good stride.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Agrius. Kind of just playing it because I kind of have to play it. I mean, no, I mean it's a pretty good card, honestly. Okay, so its skill, if you guys didn't know, it's counterblast 1. Choose a face down card with the same name of it as this unit, and then turn it face up. And then when it attacks, you can bind any number of rear guards, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, any number of rear guards, and then if you bound at least 3, you can call call rear guards for every 2. Yeah, if you bound at least 3 or more rear guards, draw a card, and then choose 2 cards from your bind zone and call them. Alright, sorry. Yeah, choose up to 2 cards for each face-up card in your G zone, and then call them to separate rear guard. The reason why I don't like him all that much is because you have to bind 3 cards. So if you get paired up with like Kagura or something like that, they deny Griffin your card, and you only had 2 other on the board, you cry. Because then you can bind your cards, but you're not going to get like a draw off of it. Yeah. He's good on your second and onward, though. I mean, also if you're just super far ahead, he's also really good to like try and punch for a game. We're playing 4 of him. He's not that bad. But
Just not great
yeah,
first.
he's not that great on the first stride. In my opinion, though, probably one of the best first strides is Progenitor Dragon of Gloomy Dark Formido. So if you guys didn't know, the Progenitor Dragons, they all have a skill where if they're face up in your G, they can't be flipped up by any other skills in your G zone. And then if they are face up in your G zone, it's like for example you strode into it, then they all have the skill where you can stride basically for free or without paying the stride costs. That's kind of.
You don't have to discard your maximums for stride?
Yeah, right? You don't have to discard your attackers for stride. It's a miracle.
Pretty sure maximum's the only one that matters.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's probably the only one. That's why we're playing like XS3s though, if you guys know. Like, and then he has an on-play skill, Counterblast 1. Your opponent chooses the same number of rear guards as your number of open rear guards and then retires them. And if 3 or more are retired, you can soul charge 5 and then draw a card. The soul charge 5 is actually pretty good. I mean, unless you like soul charge 5 triggers, then you just cry. But it's honestly one of your best first strides because like if you get paired up with Gold Paladin, and then like they didn't super rush you, or like no, they are gonna super rush you, but they super rush you and then you can actually retaliate by retiring their board. But yeah, I'm playing Formido. And next up, I'll go with this one. We're playing 2 copies of the new stride. Shoot down Sovereign? Did I say Sovereign? Shoot down Sovereign. Violence Ace, yeah, just Violence Ace. He's kind of a situational card in my opinion. Like you can go into him like after Formido and then buff up all your cards, I guess. So okay, so its skill is Counterblast 1 for the first skill. Choose any card from any face down card and turn it face up, and then draw up the same number of cards face up in your G zone. It's pretty good to draw like 5 or 6 cards at the end, like way late in the game. It's pretty good, especially like, you know we're playing this guy, right? Yeah, it's pretty good. Like if you end up going to this and then you go into a different stride, guys, y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Not yet.
Because I heard drawing all your attack targets is good.
Yeah, that's also really important, especially if you do get through the opponent's first stride, because usually we're in like a kind of like a meta where it's first stride kill. If you do happen to get through the first stride, okay, and then sorry, the rest of the skill is after you counterblasted 1 to turn a face-up card, and you use on face-up, your Vanguard will gain the skills of Soul Blast 1, and then you can choose any one of your units, and they'll get +10 until the end of turn. if you do your numbers right, you can. Well, I'll just go on to the second skill, but leaving on that first skill.
Well, it's also the red text skill is not once per turn. So
Oh yeah,
you can
that's
give
right.
multiple people
Sorry.
plus 10.
I forgot to
per
mention
soul.
that. Yeah, it's not once per turn, so you can use it multiple times for the soul blast. Soul charge 5. Okay. And then next, the second skill that he has is when the number of your opponent's guardians reaches 2 or more, or becomes 2 or more, then you can counterblast 1, put a rear guard into soul, and then call a card from your hand to rear guard. Where did he go?
Pretty much with all the force gifts and power-ups that this guy is giving, you're probably going to be 2-card guarding if they're not G-guarding and PGing.
More of this one, but these two, you can call this from hand, and then you just call another unit to attack with. Call this from hand, or you have to use a CB for that one, but then call this one from hand, move a card from hand to soul, call another attacker. Yeah. It's pretty good. Especially if your lanes are getting really big. And also you're playing stands in the deck, so you attack your opponent like thinks you're not gonna like flip a stand trigger or something like that. You flip a stand trigger. Yeah. We're playing 2 copies of that. Okay, and my honest favorite stride for the deck. Great villain, Dirty Picaro. So, the reason why I like him, it was something I was mentioning earlier about Black Panther. And then there was another card, I don't remember what it was. But, anyways. Black Panther. Oh wait, that's what it was. It was the crit. Where did the crits go? Crit. So, if you went Force 1, let's say it's your second ride, so you're going Force 1, right? You put these on the side, and then you call these 2. So Dirty Picaro, its skill is Counterblast, or when it attacks a Vanguard, Counterblast 2, choose a face down card from your G zone and turn it face up. It doesn't specify what you have to turn up, so you can turn up a Cry Elemental if you want, by the way. So GB3 to get this skill. And then Counterblast 2, choose a face down card. And then choose a card from your hand, put it into soul, and then search your deck for up to 1 card for each face-up card in your G-zone and call the search cards to open rearguard. Open rearguard? Oh no, but I have units here. Hey, remember his skill? Soul Blast 1, plus 15. Shove into soul. Swing at Vanguard. Swing with Vanguard. Skills, shove into soul. Oh my goodness, I have attackers now. Yeah, it's pretty good. Especially if you combo it with something like this. My favorite thing to get off though. Well, actually this should be like a maximum. Or like a spike bouncer, but yeah. You just flood the board with stand triggers. And you just see your opponent cry. Also you have 3 drive checks, so. 3. My favorite trade for the deck, but yeah. He goes really well, especially if you stack 2 on one side. But just going off what I was saying earlier, because you can get more attacks off. Okay. So yeah, 1 Dirty Picaro. He's usually one of your killer strides. Okay, lastly, what's Spike Brothers without our big boy? Hellheart 8. So its skill is when your unit. Sorry, guys. Yeah. No, when your unit attacks, choose your units until the end of turn. It gets plus 10, and then auto rearguard, and also auto rearguard. Choose this unit and a card from your hand and put it into soul. So this is giving the skill to a rearguard, just like if you had called this off it. This is a skill that the red text is what they gain. Okay, and then you can choose this rearguard, move it into soul, and then choose a card from hand, put it into soul, and then at the end of the battle that the unit attacked or boosted, you can search your deck for up to 1 card and then call it to open rearguard and then shuffle the deck. So the more cards you have in hand, the more attacks you'll basically get off. Because it's basically for every 1 card in your hand, as long as you have the deck for it, you can get 1 attack off. And that attack with force gifts is pretty devastating on the opponent.
And he doesn't have to be the first attack?
Yeah,
so you can use his effect on your sides, thin out the deck, swing with him, flip triggers, and then you have additional cards to keep going.
You remember the Spike Bouncer? Remember that the second skill? Counterblast 1, shove into soul, draw a card? So you could use his first skill, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, call something else, like let's just say that's for example. Call it out and then swing with him, use a skill, move him into soul, draw a card, and you essentially basically made it so that you gained an extra card off of him attacking. But yeah. Hellheart 8. Usually they'll die after this. Okay, and
If
then...
they don't, you will.
Yeah, you usually will die because you won't have the cards in hand. Oh, and another thing. If you guys are concerned about people playing like Honolly, you can play... I'm not playing in this deck, but you can play... what's that card? It's a the Charge Grade 2 Cobalt Impulse, where it's on hit. You can retire one of the opponent's cards. I don't remember if it's front row or not. I don't think it's front row. I think it's you can just retire one of the opponent's cards. If it's not front row, then bang! But yeah, you could use this. You could use it and try and kill Honolly off of it, if that's what matters. But yeah. Okay, next up for G-Guards, we're going on. So we're playing 2 Turbo Linus. I only felt the need to really play 2 because it's usually a second stride kill anyways for this deck. So its skill is it's a G flipping G-Guard, so GB1, flip a card face down G-Guard, and turn it face up. And then when placed, you can choose to put a rear guard into soul, and then this unit will get and then you don't have to move a rear guard into soul, but then its skill it gives +10 for every 2 open rear guard. Yeah, for every 2 open circles that you have. So let's say you had like 4 open circles or something. So then you're gonna get +10, 20 to it, so it'll be a 35 shield. So it can guard a lot, but yeah, we're only playing 2. Okay, next up we're playing 2. What's this one thing again? Jais. We're playing 2 Jais. So its skill is when placed on rear guard, choose up to 3 cards from your drop zone or soul with different grades, and then put them at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then he's gonna get +10 power, so it can be a 25 shield. What's good about him is that you can send back key targets like this one, like this triggers.
Make it so you can use your attackers early and then keep them in deck for your GB8.
Yep. So I'm playing 2 of it. Okay. And then lastly, we're playing 1 Dismal because we like protecting our units. So yeah. So yeah, Dismal skill, G-Guard. One last thing though. Something else, if you wanted to not play like 3 Panthers, you could play Mayhem Tiger instead. Because Mayhem Tiger, so it's a charging skill, GB1, Soul Blast 1, and then if your opponent puts down a Guardian, you can Soul Blast 1 to retire it. And it's not once per turn. Or sorry, it has to be a grade 2 or less Guardian. But yeah, it's not once per turn, so every time your opponent puts down a Guardian, you can choose Soul Blast 1 to retire it. Remember this one? Soul Blast, you have 5 soul now, if you got it off. But yeah. Okay, so that's it. Yes.
Right,
Thank you.
This is Infinity Cerulean with a premium Spike Brother deck profile, signing out.